Hello and welcome to the StandRite-Pro instructional video. If you've recently purchased the StandRite-Pro, you've been directed here to learn how to use it, what to expect when you use it, and how long it'll take before you feel some results. It's very important. If you're just visiting our website for more information and clicked on this link, we hope this will give you an overall understanding of our product and its benefits. So let's get started in talking about what it is that's our main concern in standing. People are dying on their feet in many sectors. Some sectors we stand on our feet for 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts. Other sectors we're being told that we should stand more because there's health benefits with that. Unfortunately, all of this advice is good advice, but unfortunately, no one has dealt with the problems in standing. What causes pain and fatigue in such a fashion as to develop chronic health issues? So I'm going to focus on that for just a few minutes before we get into the use of the product, so that you get an overall understanding of why this is so important. In standing, the body needs to maintain balance and gravity. So we have our legs, we have our muscle structure, and we can effectively travel upright, but standing upright becomes more difficult because we're fighting postural sway. Standing in gravity, the muscles and the bones don't work independent of the body to keep us supported. They need the assistance of the body's fascia. The body's fascia consists of 3 different types that are basically like a rubbery, elastic lining that surrounds organs and supports them. They surround the muscles, they attach the muscles to the bone, and so on. So the fascia is tremendously important in orchestrating any movements that we make, no matter how significant or insignificant. In addition to that, the central nervous system works in conjunction with the fascia. So if we feel stress and we're operating with poor posture, or we're fatigued, our fascia is working even harder to keep us balanced. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in order to control postural sway, we do a number of things. We lock our knees, we lean on things. All of these things provide a temporary sensation that we've controlled the sway. But it doesn't last very long. As soon as you take your hand off the table, the symptoms begin to appear again. So what we need to do is we need to look at what's going on there. The fascia is working really hard, tensing and constricting in various areas of the body as we try to maintain balance. Much of this happens subconsciously because it happens so often and so quickly that we don't recognize it. But that's where we're expending all this energy that makes us fatigued. Now, like I said, when you place a hand on something or you lean on something, you get that temporary sensation that you feel better, but as soon as you walk away, you start to have this problem again. So those of us who've been standing for a long time, and the folks in office chairs and things that are beginning to stand, are all becoming keenly aware that we're developing chronic problems with this. Some people might have consistent nagging back problems and foot problems and things of that nature. And this all goes back to the tensing of our fascia and its direct relationship to the muscles that we are using to balance. So controlling sway becomes a really important aspect of standing. So what we did at StandRite-Pro was we developed a pad that you make contact with at your shins to control that postural sway, relax the fascia, reset the muscle positions and strengthen them. So let me show you a little bit about it. This is our HBS 1001. And this particular model was designed for use in offices and data entry points, wherever you might be standing at a height adjustable or stand-up desk, maybe a counter, sales counter, anything like that. But basically, you just slide this into position at your normal standing position for the task, and you get onto the pad and you bring your leg in, your foot under the pad, so that your shin just touches the bottom edge of the pad. And once you get there, then you can simply bend your knees and make contact at the shins. So what that does is it begins to control postural sway in the same fashion that you were leaning over here, or you were leaning like this, or maybe shifting your weight. All of these little things that we do to try to, feel better when we're standing. So when we apply this contact at the pad, our fascia begins to relax, and those muscles that we use can now reset and not feel as though they are favoring any particular illness or chronic pain. So let's talk about that for a second. As we develop, this poor posture, or maybe our task requires us to be on the job standing all day long, or we're just moving out of chairs and we're very uncomfortable, we are favoring certain muscles in our body that have developed inflammation, and the inflammation has occurred from specific tension in the fascia. So your fascia is working really hard, as I said before, and now we're doing tasks and things like that. So strains can occur because of the tenseness in the fascia and in the adjacent muscles that the fascia surrounds and connects, right? So what we need to do is relax that whole thing so that it can reset and stop favoring one side or the other, or a specific muscle group gets stronger because the other one is so weak, and all of that. So by using the product, you can control that postural sway, relax the fascia, and begin to reset the configuration of those muscles into their normal positions, right? So that's where the strengthening begins to occur. So we suggest that you use our product initially about 10% of the time. And this is because there are some specific aspects to the unit that you're gonna need to understand. What we're doing here is, let's look at the problem of locked knees for a minute. When we stand and we try to balance with locked knees, we put strain on the tendons and muscles and fascia in our legs, and that constricts the critical blood vessels that run down the back of our legs. This can result in impairments in cognitive thinking, poor circulation to the heart, and a host of other problems, okay, and which some of us have. But if we slightly bend the knees, then we've allowed for a positive shin angle. The restriction in the blood flow is gone, and just as important, we've engaged our hips. Let me give you an example. As we stand with locked knees and we perform a task, whatever that might be, maybe you're a cashier and you're bagging and you're twisting, or you're a machinist and you're reaching out for something. All of the strength in that activity is coming from your lower back with locked knees. And it's because you cannot engage your hips very well with your knees locked. So when you bend your knees slightly, you can create that positive shin angle. your hips engage into a proper hip hinge movement. So you can now bend over and turn and shift and all of these kinds of things without all the strain on your lower back. Let me give you an example. When we're told to lift, we're told to lift with bent knees for better leverage. But where the leverage comes from is bending your knees and placing the weight, centering the weight, and coming straight up with that weight. And you've engaged your thighs, your glutes, and your hips into the process. So it saves your lower back and you don't get strained. The same principle applies with the StandRite-Pro. We place our feet under it, we make contact at that edge at the bottom, and then we simply bend our knees. And now you can, within 30 seconds of using it, you can begin to feel a relaxation that I mentioned earlier. But what's more important is that use over time and continued use will help you to strengthen all of your muscles evenly throughout your body so that your dynamic stance that you've developed can be sustained. So it's very important to understand that aspect. So our bodies know when we have too much postural sway and we lean, okay? Or we back up to something, somehow we control that postural sway, and much of it is subconscious. Just as the movements of the fascia and expending all the energy that kills us and causes all the fatigue is occurring subconsciously. So in using this, we've slowed all of that down and everything begins to normalize, and you can begin to strengthen in these positions. So let's talk about what to expect. If you're standing with locked knees, you've got pretty much a right angle to your feet and your shins. And so your muscles have developed to hold that stance. So now we're asking you to use a positive shin angle and slightly bend those knees. So that's going to change the configuration and the use of this muscle group in your calves, in your feet, through your thighs, in your glutes, and your lower back. That's a good thing because those muscles have developed atrophy from so much from the fascia being so tense for so long. So now that we've relaxed that fascia, we're able to see those muscles begin to strengthen in their normal positions. So again, we come up to the pad. Well, by the way, one leg works just fine. Again, you're controlling postural sway. You're relaxing the fascia. You're going to get great benefit to this in your muscle structure. Two legs are great. Definitely move around when you're not using it. Stretch your legs out. Turn your feet. Make sure that you're getting movement in the workplace because after all, that's what we're developing here. A dynamic stance and a dynamic movement in the workplace. So use the StandRite-Pro. Use the StandRite-Pro about 10% of the time initially until your muscle structure begins to strengthen. So we're going to relax the fascia. We're going to reset the normal position of the muscles, and then we're going to begin to strengthen those muscles. So continuing to use the product for as long as you have to stand in any position in any sector will just add to the benefits over time. You will become stronger and more balanced, and because you've dealt with the problems that were causing you all of the pain and fatigue. If we continue to stand in the way we are standing, we're not gaining any benefit whatsoever. The strain and pain in standing is affecting our engagement in what we're doing because we're focused on relief of that pain. We look for somewhere to lean. You know, we stand with locked knees. We hurt our circulation. All of these things are very bad, and we develop chronic pain from inflammation that occurs in this tension. So using the StandRite-Pro, you know, is imperative to changing fundamentally the way you stand. And once we correct the way you stand, then you're going to get healthier, stronger, and you're going to be able to sustain it with continued use. So rather than look at standing as being twice as bad as smoking, twice as bad as sitting, and you know, don't get confused because there's people saying sitting is the next smoking. So, you know, all of this is confusing, but it doesn't have to be. The StandRite-Pro is the first of its kind to address postural sway and reducing tension in the body's fascia to strengthen the muscles naturally. This is an important aspect and something that you need to make sure you understand in heading into use. Now, the duration of time that it's going to take you to understand or experience the real benefits of the StandRite-Pro is initial use for a period of a few weeks would be at a 10% usage. So, you know, come up to your workstation, you know, use your StandRite-Pro and step away from it periodically, and then move around a little bit, move your feet, stretch out a little bit, do some activities like this, and you'll begin to build some of that strength in the muscles that you've changed in the stance. As you increase your usage, you will begin to really feel some of the changes in your muscles. Your glutes will get tighter, your thighs will get tighter and stronger, I mean by tighter, and your feet will feel better. Everything will start to feel a lot better. And then as time goes on, you continue to use the product and you sustain this dynamic stance that you've developed. So whether or not you stand periodically in an office at a height adjustable desk, or you work on a machine that requires you to stand for an entire shift, this product is going to give you the benefits of standing. You've got your circulation for the cardio aspect. You've relaxed your fascia and settled down any muscles that might be overcompensating to stand. You're building strength in all your muscles in a more dynamic stance, and all of this spells a healthier you and a longer career and hopefully a very long and happy retirement. So if you have any questions regarding the use of this product, or how we might be able to help you in other ways, other configurations, things of that nature, feel free to reach out to us. You can email us at mail@hbssco.com, or you can call our office at 586-663-2212, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. From Kathy Setek and I, we appreciate your business. We appreciate you watching this video, and we are here for you if you have any questions or comments. Thank you.